Welcome to the Horror Friendly Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Horror Friendly Podcast, part of the You Run Podcast Network. My name is Katie, and I am joined by Chantal. Hey, Chantal.
Hell yeah, you are. Hi, how are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a blur today because there's so much washing going on in the background that we've blurred it out.
It's overwhelming.
How dare people know that I have a life outside of Zoom?
I thought Horror Friendly was your only life. I thought that's all you did.
It really is. That's why I'm normally in the same outfit. But it's been discovered I have to do washing every now and then. So you can actually see it keeps sneaking in. So we'll see. But how are you?
I'm good. Are you feeling spooky yet? It's coming up to that time, isn't it?
Well, I am, because you and I actually saw each other the other day, and I've been really shit with spooky stuff this year. Considering this is our favorite time of year, I've been so shit.
But
yeah, yeah. And I feel guilty because a lot of my friends have gone like full out, but I feel like you and me have just not had the time this year. We did Fright Fest, so, that took up a lot of our time. And then we did a cinema trip the other day. So I'm getting a little spooky in there.
We're getting there. It's difficult because we're spooky, the whole year. So, you've got to really put the extra spooks in for October, but sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, spooky for life, not just for Halloween.
Absolutely. But we did see each other. I can't believe it.
We're like those dogs you get at Christmas. Yes, we did. It was so funny. We finally saw each other and we did a cinema trip where we sat in silence.
We saw each other for about all of 5 minutes and then we're like, okay, bye.
Yeah, bye. Yeah, we're going into the dark room now. Although I think we spent half the film staring at each other going, oh my God, did you see that? Oh my God, did you see that? Which is hilarious when you're in a cinema and the screen is fucking massive and you're like, did you see that happen? Like, that's
yes,
us.
I did.
No one else ever wants to watch a film with us.
No, they don't.
Including our partners who we dragged along.
I know. Well, it was my partner hadn't seen 1 or 2. So this was like, this was sort of brand new for him. But feel a bit bad about that, but we move.
But how could we not? How could we not do it?
How could we not? We went to see Terrifier 3 in the cinema.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, we did.
Finally. Yeah. And what were your thoughts? Again, we're going to try and do no spoilers because we are aware some people haven't got there yet. So, but what were your thoughts?
Yeah, well, so this isn't the main film we're covering tonight. This is just a little review we've got for you because we know it's such a new film. And it's such a big deal that it's come out in the cinema. So yeah. Awesome. I really liked it. I think I preferred it to 2. I think I just always loved the original. So I think that's where that's why I have a soft spot for the first one. But yeah, I thought it was great. They obviously bigger budget. They really upped their game on the SFX. So gory, so violent, very much what you're asking for and what you look for in a Terrifier film. Yeah. I thought it was great. What did you think?
I think absolutely the same, but I think it's so funny. You can see how they've got such a bigger budget and yet they've kind of stayed true to that smaller budget kind of feel. Yeah. Everything still feels like it could have been made for £100, not because it doesn't look great, but because that love is still there for the film. And I think that, that's just Terrifier through and through. It's kind of slasher, but it's taking that influence. I did not believe anyone when they said the third one is gorier than the other 2. I was like, no fucking way. Like, come on, there's just going to be more, as in like number wise. I thought there was just going to be more deaths. No, they actually ramped it up. And when I said that to my friend, she was like, how? And I was like, I can't even explain how it's gorier. You just have to believe me and go see it.
Yeah. I watched a really good review on YouTube which said, think of the goriest bit in Terrifier 2, which, if I'm sure you, if you know, if you know, you know, and it's on every single kill is on the same level as that. And I thought that was like perfectly put because that is exactly what it is. Every single kill there is no one that gets off even half okay, like nothing.
No. And I think the thing, we were talking about it on the drive home, me and my partner, and I was like, and the thing is, you can tell that they never planned for it to be a franchise. Like Terrifier was supposed to be a one-off film. and now they're kind of rolling with it and they're kind of figuring out the story. But it is quite nice how they're kind of tied. They've still managed to tie it back to 2 and 3 without it seeming so, well, that's far-fetched. Like, they did manage to put some things in there in the second one, and like to tie it all back. So I think it's still nice that they've managed to do that. But this is so fucking funny that this film is already going to be a franchise, and I don't know how many of them we're going to get, because they've definitely now got to do another one. They left it on a cliffhanger, essentially. So they've already lined up for number 4.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I think it's also like these films coming out, like this is such an important thing for horror as well. Like, I think they've really brought in a new horror villain. I think that we did really kind of need someone at this point. You know, the original horror villains are great, but there's only so far you can go with them. And I think that it's always good to keep horror fresh. And I think that Terrifier has really introduced new fans, younger fans, and I think it's a really important franchise for
They probably
horror.
shouldn't be younger, but you know,
no, but like, I think it's good. It's like revitalizing it a
Mm.
bit, and I think that's what this genre needs.
I think you're right. You're so right. Actually, we haven't had a good slasher villain like in a while, because we have had like new monsters, as it were, or like bad guys. But you think like Annabelle or Megan, or like, again, so a lot of the genres have been like post-apocalyptic or like looking at AI, and it's been kind of almost a bit futuristic. So to actually take art and take him back to basics and back to slashers and back to just some fucking psycho in a suit, in a costume, who doesn't give a fuck and is going to be as violent as possible while wearing flowery sunglasses, while laughing, while miming. He's fucking brilliant. Like,
people fucking love him. They love him.
But this, like, to be fair, Terrifier 3 was quite long, but because they put in so much of art playing around, like, you almost like see his personality, which is so bizarre considering art. And it's just like,
yeah,
he's such a character.
Yeah, there's a lot in there. My partner texts me a very small review, which he's just, well, I mean, actually he has given it spookies as well, and I think your partner has as well, but we'll do that in a minute.
Our partners need to start their own podcast, like, because they're trying to take over ours now.
I know, right?
Fucking rude. How dare we take them on outings?
Well, he said it was a fun movie if extreme gore and gratuitous violence is your idea of fun. The SFX was fantastic, and having not seen the other 2 movies, it was very easy to pick up the story after a YouTube recap pre-cinema. So
I was wondering that, because obviously he hadn't seen the first 2.
Yeah, there's a lot out there about Art the Clown and Terrifier, so I think there's a lot of like context, but obviously it's not as good as watching them, but I think he understood the gist.
he got the gist.
Yes.
The clown's the bad guy.
Yeah.
The mime.
The pacing was a bit all over the place, but if you're watching this for the plot, then you're watching the wrong movie. Art is a great character. Gabby was incredibly annoying throughout.
God, honestly. It's hilarious actually how there was 2 characters in this who you were like, if I don't care if you die.
I don't care. Yeah.
Like, which is so bad when you're like, I should be like rooting against Art, and I actually just don't care what happens to these 2.
But tell that's a slasher.
Exactly.
When have you ever really liked a character in a slasher film? Like, apart from maybe a handful.
Sydney.
Oh yeah, but like,
I know what you mean. But it is. I mean, I was literally just gonna start naming Scream characters there, but I won't. But it is so true. Like, it is just like you said. Like, yeah, if you're there for the plot, if you're there for the pacing, probably not your film. If
probably
you're just there. It's just the fact that every 5 minutes there was another like gory scene. There's loads of cameos in this, which makes it really fun. You and I were staring at each other.
It was amazing.
Yeah, my partner did. I forgot. He was like, it's a solid 4 out of 5. He didn't send anything over or write it down. He is now taking off his headphone because he's trying to hear what I'm saying about him. But so he kept joking before it. Obviously, we'd watched 1 and 2 because he kept seeing the gifs, and he was like, "What is this? Like, who is this?" So I showed him Terrifier 1. We watched Terrifier 2. He thought it was hilarious, and in Terrifier 2, he kept like rooting for Art, and he was like, he's just a single dad, like trying his best. Obviously, he's a sarcastic fucker. But it was that. So then, like, as soon as you were like, should we see Terrifier 3? He was like, yeah, I want to see my favorite single dad and how he's doing. And it was like, there were points we were like laughing, and I was like, we shouldn't be laughing because this is actually, if this was happening in real life, it'd be horrific.
Oh my god, but you could say that about anything, any horror film.
As I said, we really have a problem. I'm starting to question our mental health. I really am.
Okay, so your partner is giving it a 4 out of 5
Yes.
spookies. Okay, what about you?
I think I'm going to go 4 as well. I said it to you as soon as we were in the car park. I was like, I've got one gripe with this film, which I said to you then. However, I don't think it takes away from all the positives around the film.
Yeah.
Anyone listening to this, I'm like, can Chantal stop having a problem with every fucking film? But I'm an opinionated.
You just have high expectations.
I'm an opinionated bitch, okay? Like, get over it. Yeah, so, and I think it's just that one little thing. I also was quite a long film. And as we know, I'm not great at those. But as I said, every 5 minutes was something worth watching, which makes it easier. Like there wasn't any long dragging scenes. So that was good. So yeah, I'm going to go 4. What about you?
Nice. I'm going to go 3.5. My partner also said 3.5. I really liked it. Also, what?
To be fair, I was like, I need reference. Like, what did you give the other 2?
Well, we've covered the first one in this podcast. I feel like I gave it a 4 because it was my birthday choice. I would give Terrifier a 4. I think I'd give Terrifier 2 about a 3, and then this one 3.5. I did think it's creeping up to that 4, but I just kind of feel like it sat nicely at 3.5.
I think, to be fair, that's the order I would put them in, is like 1, 3, 2. So yeah,
same. But yeah, guys, it's out in the cinema. Go out and watch it, or watch 1 and 2. Don't do what my partner did. Watch 1 and 2.
We need to teach him better. To be fair, my partner said, like, because there was people kept walking past us, I'm assuming to go to the loo and not to vomit, but the rumors, you never know. But he said he kept imagining like art to just suddenly be standing there. I was like, it wouldn't surprise me if they did that at like the London premiere.
Yeah,
it just had art like in the corner, but I was like, probably not on a random night where we were watching it.
But imagine
next time we'll do it.
Yeah, but it is good to know that if you haven't seen 1 or 2 and you are interested, you can go and see it if you just do a little YouTube recap. It is possible, but we would always recommend like watch the films, because then you'll properly learn about the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's a Christmas film, so go get in the spirit.
Exactly. Bring some mulled wine with you. You'll be fine. Just don't throw up.
Yeah, just don't bring it back up again.
Yeah.
Well, shall we move on to this week's episode?
Let's go, bitches.
Let's go, bitches. So we have decided to do the 2024 horror drama In a Violent Nature. That was very posh of me. When a group of teens takes a locket from a collapsed fire tower in the woods, they unwittingly resurrect the rotting corpse of Johnny, a vengeful spirit spurred on by horrific 60-year-old crime. I'm not laughing, but I also know Katie's dancing and no one's going to see this because I'm going to put the trailer over the top, so you're not going to know why I'm giggling.
That's exactly why I'm doing it.
The undead killer soon embarks on a bloody rampage to retrieve the stolen locket, methodically slaughtering anyone who gets in his way. Katie, what were your first thoughts on this one?
So there was so much hype about this film. Every single fucking horror fan wanted to watch this, including me.
Yeah.
So I was really excited to watch it. So highly anticipated, probably one of the biggest anticipated horror films of the year. And I actually really liked it for the most part. There were a few bits that I wasn't so keen on.
Okay.
But for the most part, I thought it was great, particularly the cinematography. I thought was fucking beautiful. That really has a huge part to play in why I like this film so much. I really like the idea of it. And it doesn't it is obviously a slasher film, but it kind of in another way doesn't conform to that slasher norm where it's like, I don't know, it just doesn't. It doesn't conform to the slasher norms in that there's a lot of dialogue, sort of music, there's a whole kind of huge plot, and lots of characters. It's not like that. And I really kind of liked how different it was in that way. But yeah, what did you think?
So same, when we heard this film was coming out and it looked incredible. I think, as you say, it was really, really hyped up. Not by them, like it wasn't like a marketing thing, but it was like horror fans being like, this looks amazing. It was kind of funny though how actually that buzz died down quite quick. Like, I don't know about you, but like now, considering this was only a 2024, this isn't on the like, oh my God, top films to watch this year. This has kind of died down quite a bit. And I don't know if it's just because it came out earlier in the year. I'm not really sure. Absolutely 100% agree with you. The cinematography, like some of those shots and some of the just was absolutely fantastic, absolutely stunning. It really does. I do think there are a lot of slasher like cliches in there.
Oh yeah.
But as you say, like kind of done from a different perspective. However, this just didn't, I don't know. This just didn't do it for me.
Okay.
Like I really thought I was gonna love this a lot more than I did. And I don't know if I went in and I set myself up to fail because I was like, this is gonna be the best film ever. And it was, don't be wrong, it was good, but it was lacking.
This is the problem with a horror film. You should never ever have high expectations.
I thought you were gonna say this is the problem with you.
Just turns into a therapy session.
Oh, this is the problem with you and your opinions.
This is the problem with you, Tal, right? Okay.
I don't need therapy. I've got Katie to put me back in my fucking place.
No, with horror films,
Yeah.
we all do it. We're all guilty of it. We hype it up, and it's never what you think it's going to be.
No.
Hardly ever.
And I think this was the thing, because I'd obviously heard it was like, oh, it's a horror film from the point of view of the serial killer, or I think it would be a serial killer. And I was like, that's such an interesting like idea, but I think he was great.
Yeah.
But I think the teenagers, their acting was really lacking. There was like that scene with them. There's the scene with the two girls on the dock, and they're acting shit. Like,
is that from when it's from like a further away perspective?
yeah. So you could only really hear them talking, but it was just all that like, well, if you're trying to lead, I'm sorry, I can't do an American accent. If you're trying to lead me on and all that, and I was like,
oh, please give it another go.
Y'all trying to lead me on, girlie?
Perfect.
Like, I don't think they were Southern at all. I just did not believe it at all, where it was them trying to be like, oh, this whole like sassy relationship, like, oh yeah, come and meet me on top of the hill. Like, I did not believe there was any fucking chemistry between those two. Like, there wasn't even flirting, let alone, like, I don't know, the acting wasn't there.
Yeah, kind of stale.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Okay,
and
that's a good point. I didn't really kind of
I know
think
they were
too
like
much about it, but that's a good point. Like, everything adds up, and you are in a slasher somewhat trying to root for some of them at least. Like, I know what I said just then about hating everyone in slasher films, but there are some you kind of like.
But those are the ones you're supposed to like. Like, those are the teenagers we're supposed to be rooting for. But, and again, like the campfire stories, I just thought the acting was shit. And I just like, I don't care about these characters. And I think this was an interesting twist, because all of a sudden you do care more about the killer, because actually you can see their perspective. Oh, it wasn't just that they made a mistake, they stole from him. Therefore, we hate them. And that was all the information we needed to be on his side because of the perspective of the camera. Yeah. And I thought that was really interesting, but they really lacked, and it was really distracting for me.
Okay. Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah. Act better. Like, I know it must be hard to act when it's like that perspective, but reality is you're doing the same scene. Just do it properly. And it sounds so bitchy as not an actor, but like, we've seen a lot of like lower budget films and the acting was phenomenal. These guys were probably getting paid quite a bit. I'm like, do your fucking job. And that sounds so fucking bitchy, but yeah.
I mean, no. Yes, so I mean, good point. No, it's a good point.
So harsh. For 2 glasses of wine and I'm suddenly an absolute cow.
Well, I don't know how. Actually, that's probably something we should look at.
2 glasses of wine.
It's the budget.
Yeah. What should be like £100 budget? I was like, never mind. They were students.
That's my only concern.
3 million.
Oh, that was the budget.
Was all put together on a 3 million budget and shot in the Canadian wilderness.
Okay, yes, so they would have got paid something.
Probably, not as much as other horrors.
Amount. No,
but
okay. I guess for a horror, that's not that much, but it's not a, it's not a Kickstarter. It's a bit more than that.
Yeah, it's also one of those things. I'm like, okay, so even if they weren't paid a lot, if those actors are like trying to get other jobs, like, give it your 100%. Like,
Well,
it's
that's what they're there to do. They're there to act, and you didn't.
Yeah, and I just didn't believe
them.
it.
You didn't like their performance. Yeah,
No.
that's completely fair. You review films, Tell. You're more than allowed to say that.
Yeah. I just feel so bitchy because I'm like, I know I don't do it as a job. However, if I did, I'd be fucking believable. I'd have that girl horny. I'd be like, believe it, this is flirting rather than just like, what is happening with those two?
So in a way, you kind of wanted it to kind of conform to slasher norms a bit more, like have more sort of personalities and
just like
Mm.
And
Well,
again, like, it didn't have to,
yeah.
and this was the thing. I was like, it didn't have to be, I don't know, it's hard when you've got a character who doesn't speak and then is sitting there at one point holding a car and silent. And yet in that scene, he acts better than they do with full-on dialogue, with so-called emotion. I'm like, no, there is more emotion coming from a man who's like, they've put so much SFX on him that he can barely act. And yet he is still giving more emotion.
I love that scene.
They're so good, right? But yeah,
no, that's fair. I mean, I think I need to sort of clear up what I said about like it doesn't conform to slasher norms, because it does, because it's a slasher film. But I just think that it's obviously done, like you said, from a different perspective. And
it's flipped them, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think sometimes slasher becomes quite tiresome for people. That it was nice that they tried to do something new with the subgenre, but yeah, you're right. Like the acting wasn't quite there, and I think a lot of people, I mean, I'm guilty of it, that I was kind of mostly just focused on Johnny. Like I wanted to see everything from. I think after a while we got so spoiled with seeing everything from his perspective that I was like, I don't really care about anyone else now. Like I'm so invested in this person now.
Yeah, I think the one part that I actually loved, where it was like horror or like slashers flipped on their head, was obviously there was the bit at the beginning where the group were taking the photo and he was in the background, which again, but again, we've seen that in slashers. And then I loved later on when they flipped it and it was him. I can't know if he was stood still or if he was walking, but then two of the characters were like crawling in the background to like sneak past him. And I thought that was so clever. Normally we'd get that like very faint blur of the bad guy, and actually that had completely flipped. I really did like that bit. As I'll give you that. That was a nice touch. I did like that.
And as a SFX queen, the kills are pretty fucking violent. What did you make of them?
I thought they were so funny because they just like, not in a funny like haha. I feel like I need to stop saying like funny, because some people think
you can say whatever you want, mate.
Say whatever you want, it's your podcast. No, but I feel like I say that a lot where I'm like, oh, it's so funny. And I don't mean ha 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 ha. I don't even know what I mean. It's just an expression. But it was so funny. Like, again, go back to the dock scene where he crawls under the water, or walks under the water. He doesn't crawl. He walks under the water. And then beautifully done where she just screams and vanishes. And then her body just pops up. Great, subtle, love it. And then 3 minutes later, on top of the hill, dragging the lady's face through her own stomach. Fucking gore, fucking fantastic. But I was like, why was one kill like 0 and one like 1 billion? Like, this guy has range. Like, it wasn't.
That's what I love about it.
But it was so funny because I was like, no, one kill was similar. One kill was like another, and one was very much like, oh, just go to sleep underwater, and one was like, how bendy are you, yoga lady? It's like defying physics. Pretty sure that wouldn't happen, especially when he was like, he had his foot on her, and I was like, I'm pretty sure you'd have kicked her body off the cliff by now. But I still want to see if you can get her head through her stomach.
Yeah, that was an intense. You're right. It kind of came out of nowhere, that kill, and I'm really glad it's in there. Yeah, because I think it really set things apart from other films in terms of like how they use their SFX and the gore. I thought that was done fucking beautifully. I must admit that kill was done amazingly, but it was a bit like, wait, what the fuck?
So the funny was as well, as soon as you kind of figured out what he was about to do, your head's going, that's not. Is that possible? That's not possible. And you start questioning everything you know. But again, that character just annoyed me because like she saw him coming, turned around, saw the cliff edge, and then just accepted her fate. And I was like, you didn't even try. You did not even try and get out of his way. Like, she just
No.
went, okay, I'll just enjoy the view while he fucking shoves his hand the entire way through me.
Turns me upside down.
Like, didn't even try.
Turns me inside out.
I'm actually slightly gutted we didn't get. I wanted someone to find her because I cannot imagine one, the psychological effects that would have on you finding a body pretzeled, but also like just I want to see their reaction. Just like, what? Oh no, she ends up in the water, didn't she?
Yeah,
Either
I think
way.
you think he chucks her off the cliff
Yeah.
once he's done his thing.
I wanted to see someone find her and just be like, how?
Yeah. But like someone would have found her. Like
Eventually.
they like
I
that's fucked.
I want to see that autopsy.
Oh, tell.
Just like, how did the fuck?
How do I unfold this woman?
It's like you have to wait till rigor mortis is like stopped. They're like calmed down again to just like unpop the body.
And then in being in the water as well, that's going to bloat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's gonna bloat inside herself.
Oh God.
That's number 2 is just her autopsy. That's all I need to see.
Well, there's going to be a second one, Tao. It got announced in July. There's going to be a second one. And we will be seated.
We will be seated.
You know you will be.
I will, but does someone else steal his necklace? Like, what's gonna? This is the thing. The entire premise is someone stole his necklace, so he's coming to kill them.
Well, you know,
don't touch a man's
steal
jewels.
Kids. Don't steal kids. So you like the SFX? I'm pretty sure every single kill was gory in its own way. Yeah,
except I'd still say the drowning was gory, but it was definitely less so than anything else because it was just like mob. But like the fucking wood chopper at the end, I loved how they did that perspective of like a test cut, and then it was all blurred and you just saw the blood. Awesome. But it was blurry, and I just that was all fucking great. Like, it also kind of felt realistic because, again, as a glasses wearer, not actually being able to see everything at a distance, that's my life.
Actually, that's pretty fucked.
And it's like, again, he didn't even try and fight. Like, I know he was pretty fucking hurt and everything, but he was still like alive and breathing, and he was just like, I'm gonna lay here and have my head cut off. But these fuckers weren't trying to survive, let's be honest.
Yeah, Johnny just got the best of them.
He really did.
But yeah, I mean, I saw a review it was something like a guy walks around for a while and then kills someone in the most violent way I've ever seen in my life, and then he just carries on walking.
Yeah, he would do art proud.
He would. Yeah, we were talking about 2 very violent films tonight. But that cinematography to me, it was just, some of the scenes were just so beautiful. You just see him walking in the sunrise and the sunset and just the woods around him and the colors. Oh God, it's like it's a horror fan's, dream, man. Like,
unfortunately, it does, everyone's like, oh, if you're stressed and, you need for mindfulness, go for a walk in the beautiful scenery. Turns out it doesn't help. Actually, if you come across a yogi, kill them. That helps, apparently. That's what I took from this film.
Yeah, going for a walk in the woods isn't, always the best thing when you're a woman, and then also massively into horror films because you're just scared all the time.
Have you ever done that where you go for a walk and you've got like a horror podcast or a true crime podcast on? I set a PB on a run doing that. I didn't even clock it until I got home and realized that because I had something on, it was literally about a stalker, that I fucking sprinted half the run because I'd obviously freaked myself out without realizing it.
Oh, that's so sad.
Fitness tips with Tell.
Fitness tips on being a woman.
This is why everyone's like, why do you run? I'm like, because one day I may fucking need it. And I will not be that bitch on the cliffside who just accepts my fate. I'm gonna try and outrun the man that hasn't moved in like a decade. Like, I'm sure my thighs are better than his. Like, come on.
Yeah, you've got to at least just give it a go, haven't you?
Try. I'm really disappointed in the lack of effort. Was it not though as well, when he was like walking and the way they were filming it, to me it felt like a video game. Like, it was that kind of perspective, and I thought it was going to be literally like his eyes, like we were going to be looking for his eyes, and I'm kind of glad it wasn't, because I think I'd have got seasick, but like you'd have got motion sickness for sure. But I did almost feel like I was almost expecting to make an option at one point and be like, left or right?
Press triangle for.
Jump. Like, I was kind of expecting it.
That's really true, because there's one bit, when you said that, I thought about the bit where he goes into the man's house at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then he's walking for a long time, and then it cuts and he's still walking, but he's walking from like a different perspective.
Yeah.
And that felt very much like a video game, thinking about it.
No, it was, as literally was my first thought. I was like, oh, this is yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Kind of works though. It did kind of work, don't get me wrong.
It did work. I think the things that didn't work for me, I think the ending fell off a bit. I think it was quite slow at the end. And people will say maybe that they thought the whole film was quite slow. I personally didn't. I thought that it was pretty good pace, actually. Considering the kind of film it is, I thought the pacing was good. But it was the ending for the pacing for me just was fucked. And all of a sudden, it wasn't from the perspective of Johnny anymore. And as I was saying earlier, I think I was so invested in that for such a long time, and then it suddenly switches. I can understand why some people might like that, but I personally, I lost interest after that.
Well, it was like, yay, we got a final girl. But as we've said, we didn't care about that. We didn't care about the teenagers. So we didn't care about the final girl.
No. And that's coming from us, who are like so pro final girls, but it almost wasn't needed in this film.
No. She was also, again, shit final girl, because it was like, it was so funny when they were like whispering, but obviously we're seeing his perspective when he can hear everything. And I thought that was quite funny. And then the boyfriend starts shouting and immediately dies. Like, fuck me, Johnny had some anger issues with him, because, or was he trying to let her go? Because he'd obviously heard her there as well. But she stood there for fucking ages, and I was like, run? Like, are you enjoying this? Why are you still there? But I wanted to see Johnny find the necklace. Like, yeah.
I guess with the necklace not being there at the end, it could insinuate that it wasn't Johnny that picked it up. Someone else could have. So then the story carries on.
I hadn't thought of that.
Maybe.
I assumed Johnny was getting his happy ending.
Yeah, well, I mean, that could be the case, but then why is there a sequel? Money.
Because someone else tried to fucking steal his necklace. It's like John Wick. People never realise, stop killing his fucking dog. Leave John Wick alone. Leave Johnny alone. All Johns, leave them alone.
Yeah, well, exactly. Johnny would have just been perfectly content, just chilling
in his grave under the fire thing. He was fine.
I did also really enjoy the no music aspect as well, which is because I just think horror films rely so heavily on music, and it's done so fucking well, for the most part. I mean, music usually in horror is such a huge part of a film, I would say, for like 99% of horror films. But this, and it kind of gave me the House That Jack Built vibes, where there wasn't a lot of music in that either. And like something really horrific was going on at the same time, but there was no music, and it almost made it scarier to me.
I know what you mean. And I wonder if that's why it did feel at times like it dragged, because there wasn't music.
Maybe.
Until the bit in the car where there was like classical music playing but again, off the radio. Although, again, that opening scene, all I could think was, fuck me, his footsteps are loud. But because obviously there was no music, so they'd like rammed the sound up, and I was like, how has no one heard him coming? This grass is like super crunchy. Like, no one's heard him. Like, that really kind of threw me.
He's so extra.
Was he wearing heels? Like,
he just wants everyone to know he's there.
Yeah, like, guys, pay me attention. He's so needy, Johnny. Fuck me, it's poor Johnny.
Johnny, stop it.
Johnny, so needy. But then at the end, at the end, you know what? All I kept thinking was like, I'm gonna get her name wrong. Who's the girl? Sally from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah. Like from the ending where she gets in the car. Yeah. And again, all I was thinking was like, I guess she would have had a similar scene, but we didn't see it because, although admittedly they would have also seen her killer. So they saw Leatherface. So they would have been like, oh my God, let's get you to the hospital. Whereas this woman was like, I don't know what you've been through. It could have been a bear. So they're not grasping it. So she's just kind of like trying to talk to her, trying to help her out, which is all very sweet. But actually, that car journey must be the weirdest fucking thing at the end of a horror film, because we never see it. But actually, it's like, well, do you put the radio on if you have someone in your passenger seat with massive trauma? Do you just suddenly, what are you listening to these days? What do you want to hear?
Yeah.
Is
So,
there,
how have you been?
is there a song or a genre of music that's appropriate to put on when someone's like, you've just picked up someone? Like, I don't know. It kept making me laugh, and I was like, this shouldn't be this funny.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think like, I think I liked, yeah, I guess I liked that part. It's difficult with the bit in the car because I just feel like it went on for too long. And I got the purpose of that story because I think, I don't know if it did for me. It made me think like when she was talking about, was it her brother that got attacked by the bear? Yeah. And then you think, oh, was that Johnny? Because it was such a bad attack. But I don't think it was, but it made me question it.
I wondered as well, because again, I was like, if she was local, all the locals seemed to know about Johnny and knew not to take the necklace. So again, I wondered if, especially if he was, I can't remember what job she said he had, but especially if he worked in the area. And then when she was talking about whatever the fever was that animals get, where they just kill, like not to eat, but just to kill. So I was like, again, was that him? And was he just doing like killing animals because there's no people around? Was it people? And the brother had dumbed down the story because he didn't want to like stress everyone out. I think it was an interesting thing to be like, oh, there's a story of hope. But like you say, it wasn't necessarily, I think it did go on too long. But as we said, what I don't get, why change perspective? We've got no emotional connection to this girl. Like, we don't breathe, and it sounds harsh, but again, like a lot of times in horror, you kind of need to care about the person to want them to succeed. We didn't know this girl, which, like, yeah, we want her to succeed because she's human, but like, we didn't really care about any of the others that died. We're not going to pretend to suddenly care about the last one.
No, you're right. And then I think it was too late to get emotionally involved with her. I think it was all just too late, and I didn't really care at that point.
No,
even that was the issue.
Even around the campfire, I think they were trying to like establish some backstory for these guys, and it didn't matter. Like, actually, I think one of them just came across as a prick, and you're like, again, I don't really care what happens to you guys then.
Yeah.
Like, I know what slashes are. I know who this baddie is. You're all gonna die. I'm not gonna get emotionally involved.
No.
Like, it's hard.
That's kind of point of these characters. Like, you learn about them from the minute you start watching the film.
Yeah.
And you either think they're all annoying, or you get a kind of emotional connection to one of them and you think, yeah, I'm going to root for them. Scream, like you were saying with Sydney, is a perfect example, because that first film and that whole cast are pretty fucking likable. Like Billy and Stu, like, Billy's creep, but Stu is so fucking likable. So that's what makes you like involved in it all. And I understand, they are doing something different with this film, but I just feel like it was too late to introduce this final girl, where it was like, Johnny's not here anymore. I don't really care.
Bring back Johnny.
That's how it kind of felt. That's how it felt.
It was a weird one. I did like as well. There was, I can't remember who it was, but I saw it on Instagram. It probably came from TikTok or whatever. But someone was doing, and it was like parts of horror films you didn't see. And it was like Scream, like getting ready and Ghostface hiding in the cupboard, but being bored to like playing games on his phone. And this is what this should have reminded me of, is like when Johnny was walking for ages. I was like, actually, you don't see Michael Myers doing the stalking. You just see him turn up. Like, you don't see that other side. So this did really make me laugh there. I did like some of the horror cliches, like don't go swimming. Don't have sex, although they didn't actually end up having sex, I don't think. I don't think if anyone in the tents did. But yeah, there was just like some really cute, funny moments. And you're like, yeah, don't do that, because now you're going to die.
It's funny. The bit, I think, for me was the swimming bit, because I think I've said before on this podcast, I hate deep water. Like, I hate it. Yeah. I'm a water baby, weirdly. I love swimming, but deep water, really. When the whole fucking submarine thing happened, I was just like, don't show me any of it. just because it just scared the fuck out of me. But so that part actually really got to me, because it was like he just dunked his head and then you just didn't see him for like, you know, like probably like a minute.
Yeah,
And just like,
he's supernatural. Like I think he's dead. Like and he's come
yeah,
back.
well, yeah. I mean, he can
I
do
think-
anything.
Yeah, I think he's another Jason.
Yes, he is.
So I'm just quickly looking at an interview with Steven Kostanski. I'm very sorry if I've said that wrong. So he was working with Chris Nash because they're both Toronto-based indie filmmakers and FX artists. So they were like they've come from DIY backgrounds to kind of like use that talent in these films. So he wasn't actually there on the day of the yoga pop through, as we're now calling it. um, So obviously the bodies were made out of silicone. I think we've obviously come across a lot of silicone at the time. And we want this girl to basically pretzel, which is quite fun that we also use that word. So they've even said it's anatomically impossible, but would look cool if we could pull it off. So they had to build multiple bodies. The first body was upright and was just for the initial stab. This is from avclub.com, by the way. And then they start to pull the head down. There's a second body was taking it from a 90-degree angle, bend around to the stomach. The third body pulled the rest of the head through. So I think that is really cool, actually, how they had to kind of think that one through in like stages. Because yeah, again, like you do look at that, and I can't even think, even with silicone, like I no wonder he was fucking pushing hard. Like that would have been like really hard to try and get a body all the way through. So it kind of does make sense to me that they'd have had to build them at different angles and swap them out. So they had to shoot it over multiple pieces over multiple days to get each component. So I think it's really cool that they tried something. And I think the idea of actually just a couple of independent effects artists working like DIY, as they describe themselves, pulling it off from like 3 or 4 different models. Like they say 3, but again, I'm wondering if there was like other special effects kind of added in, or other techniques just to kind of like make it happen. That it's doable. I think it just takes that really gory imagination to make this sort of shit work, and it pays.
Yeah.
But again, as we always say, the practical effects, even if we know that anatomically isn't going to fucking happen, like fucking hell, you can make it happen with some SFX, but as long as it's practical. Because if that had been CGI'd, it would have been so obvious and so
definitely. I absolutely love as well that they were both just like, it can't fucking happen in real life, but we're gonna make it look fucking cool, and they did. They pulled it off.
Yeah, they did.
So do you have a favorite spooky moment of In a Violent Nature, Chantal?
I mean, it's gonna have to be the pretzel, isn't it? Like it's just, again, our clown would be proud. Michael Myers would be proud. Fucking Freddy would be proud. Like
Jason,
all of the fuckers would be proud of that. Like you've got to give it to them. So it's got to be that one. What about you?
Nice. I'm gonna go for I'm gonna go for the swimming bit because of my like weird fear of dark water. I just really loved the scene. I know the acting was a bit ropey, but I just kind of loved the way it looked, and it was just sort of so from quite a far away perspective, and I just thought it was really cool. So I'll go for that one, I think.
And what about spookies out of 5?
Spookies.
Ooh.
I'm going to give this 3 out of 5 spookies. I really liked it. And I'm actually I was just thinking about this. I'm pretty excited for where this is going to go as well. It was kind of like what we were saying with Terrifier. I feel like, could this be a chance for another new horror villain to come into play? We tonight we've spoken about 2 very new horror films, and it's kind of exciting to think of like where these can go in the future. So I think that's awesome. I'd liked him a lot as a character. I'd definitely go and watch the second one because I really kind of bought into him. I thought he was awesome. Thought the SFX was amazing. But for me, it just fell apart a bit at the end, which is why I think it falls down a bit for me. Yeah. But I'd definitely watch it again. I'd like to watch it again, see what bits, like if there's any things I've missed. The cinematography is a real reason why it's so high, because it was just also a very beautiful looking film. So yeah, what about you?
So I think I'm going to go 2.5. Okay. Funny enough, I think I've warmed up to it more now that we've spoken about it. I think, yeah, as you say, cinematography, fucking amazing. The SFX, fucking amazing. Johnny, fucking amazing. But the other acting, for me, really let it down, and the pacing wasn't all there. It was only an hour and a half, but it did feel longer at points. Like it was a bit slow. But I think I could have accepted that if the acting a bit better. The acting really griped on me, can you tell? But I will still be there next to you watching number 2. So clearly it did something.
It clearly has done something. It's had an effect. It's a slasher. You're such a little. You're a weakling for a slasher.
I want to see what other breakfast pastries they can turn people into. Come on.
I mean, sure. I mean, no doubt the next film is going to come with a bigger budget, so they're probably going to throw a bit more at this. I really hope.
Come on, Chris Nash, if you're listening by any fucking chance, like, come on, we need that big budget breakfast buffet of human pieces.
Breakfast burrito.
Oh my god, yes, just like several people killed and rolled up together.
Yes, I think there's a creepypasta about that. So there we go.
See, this is it. If you're a filmmaker and you need ideas, just go on creepypasta.
Just go on creepypasta, yeah, you'll be fine.
And now, finally, would you survive?
Would I survive? We've done this in a slightly different order. Apologize. I think I have a chance because, as you say, Yoga Girl, she did have a bit of time to at least kind of run somewhere, like, or just see if I don't know, something.
Just try.
Yeah, because he was walking. I think probably eventually Johnny would kill me, but I would give it a go. So I'm going to say there's a possibility. What about you?
So I'd like to say a possibility because I think I would try harder than any of these others. This is the thing. I do go camping, so I feel like I'm more likely to end up in this situation than you, but I don't do fucking yoga because, again, I'm not great at like pauses. So I'm not great at holding. And I absolutely know I should do it. Like, I know I should. I know it's incredibly strong. I'm just not good at it. And that put me off. But I get like you wouldn't be in the water, whereas I might be in the fucking water.
Well, the thing is, I kind of would, but I just think like I probably would be because the lake looks so cute. Like, I don't know, it looks so nice and beautiful and serene, but there's deep water just fucking freaks me out.
That's right. You can sit on the dock and just paddle your feet and let me know when he's coming. Thanks.
No worries.
Thanks. But this is it. I think, yeah, if I saw him coming, I'd fucking try and get away.
Yeah, you try.
Like, and again, maybe Johnny is a runner because actually he never had a reason to run. So we don't know that he couldn't, but the others seemed like they had a lot of time and they just weren't willing. Like, she looked at that edge and then went no. And I was like, just throw yourself down it. Like, you might die, but you're gonna die. Or you might just get some broken bones, which will heal. So
yeah.
Impulsive decision making.
I could be extremely wrong, but it feels like Johnny doesn't run because he's also a big boy. So he'll be carrying a lot. Like, he's like Jason Stacked vibes, Kane Hodder vibes. So I don't really think he can run, but the second one might prove me wrong.
This is it. I was like, I'll never say never because fuck, can you imagine if they just suddenly get speed? But then also like the lads were dying because of stupid reasons. Like, they were arguing and bickering and throwing keys around. I was like, you're just fucking stupid. Like, also, I think if I was in that car and that lady stopped, I'd like to think I'd have said more like, we cannot stop, like explained why you couldn't stop there rather than just staring. And I know she had like PTSD, but at that point you're like, no, you're still in survival, like fight mode, like keep fighting for a little bit longer. So I'm going to say, yes, I think I'd have some chance.
Okay.
So
yes.
Awesome. Well, amazing. Join us next week for our next episode. We will share on the socials what it's going to be. So you can join in, watch along and share. Well, you can listen to our thoughts and share them on our socials. I'm rambling. But until then, bye.
Bye-bye.
Don't
die.
That's the first we've done that.
Yes, love it. Thank you, Johnny.
Johnny would be proud.
He would.